LeBron in the lane. Easy does it for LBJ.
Just go out and try to prepare and be the best every night. Floor, give a lot of credit to my teammates and my coaching staff that I've had over the course of my career that has allowed me to be who I am, allowed me to use my influence, for the better of the team as well. Now, I got some wine waiting on me, but other than that, we can all toast to each other. So.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. Can you believe it? We've made it. This is the final first take of 2020. I honestly am a little bit in shock because this year felt like it was never going to end. But guys, I'm so happy to be here with you. Happy to be with everyone tuning in today as well. I'm Charlie Arnold. We got Dominique Foxworth. We got Kendrick Perkins in the house. And Louis Riddick also joining us in just a few minutes once we start talking a little bit of football. But guys, I got to say it again. 2020 was, well, it was a year, and we had a lot of history-making moments, some good, some bad, but last night we got two very good moments. So let's take a look back at the Spurs-Lakers game to see exactly what happened. Now, the first thing that happened, which girl power, so excited to see this, Spurs assistant coach Becky Hammon making history, becoming the first woman to act as head coach during an NBA regular season game, and that happening after you just saw Pop was ejected in the second quarter. Secondly, LeBron James, on his 36th birthday, might I add, became the first player in NBA history to score at least 10 points in 1,000, I said 1,000, consecutive regular season games. All right, so a lot happening last night. Dom, I want to start with you. Is LeBron James, you say, the most accomplished player ever in NBA history?
This is a great place to start because I struggle, I have to be honest, debating Kendrick with basketball because obviously he knows more about basketball than me. He's played longer, but he's absolutely wrong if he doesn't think that Bill Russell is the answer to this question. This is not a hard question. We could have a conversation about the greatest of all time. That's subjective, and I think we would probably agree on who is the greatest player of all time, but accomplished is the word they sent. Like, you can look at that. That's real stats. Bill Russell won 11 titles in 13 years, 2 of them as a player coach. He won 5 regular season MVPs and I think 4 finals MVPs. Like that, there's no one who compares to him as far as on-court accomplishments are concerned. He is outstanding. You can look at that list. Michael Jordan even pales in comparison. And then you can take it even a step further to his college accomplishments. He had 2 national championships for San Francisco, which I didn't even know they had a basketball team outside of Bill Russell. So he's been fantastic his entire career. And if you would make the argument that he's even more accomplished off the court than LeBron James, which I know might sound crazy at first because LeBron has built this incredible industry, but Bill Russell was the pioneer. Like, he was a real civil rights leader, not like the players are today. No disrespect to the players today. I respect their contributions, but Bill Russell was something different. After Medgar Evers was killed in Jackson, Mississippi, you know who went down there? Bill Russell did. The Cleveland Summit, you know who organized that? That was Bill Russell. The FBI had a file on that man in which they called him an arrogant Negro. Like, Bill Russell was overcoming so much while also winning more champions than anybody else. They named the damn finals MVP trophy after him. I'm not sure how you can argue that anybody is more accomplished. Maybe some people are greater. Maybe Jordan, maybe LeBron are greater players as far as their impact on the game, but nobody's more accomplished.
Dominique, I hate to go into 2021 yelling and screaming at you, so I'm not going to yell at you. We just go call this virtual school, okay? Virtual learning, like what my kids do. And here's the reason why I say LeBron James is the most accomplished ever. When you look at his body of work, right, individually, his individual accolades match up with the best of them, if not even better. But when you talk about a guy, when you talk about rings, and I'm not taking anything from Bill Russell, but this is not an individual sport. This is not boxing. This is not golf. This is not tennis, where winning championships define your legacy completely. This is basketball. This is a team sport. It don't happen that way. Does winning championship help your legacy? Absolutely. But when you look at everything that LeBron James has done individually on the court, he's probably going to go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. And then another word comes to mind, the word pressure. Pressure. No one has had the pressure of LeBron James. I keep telling people this. The pressure that this man has had since the age of 16, now he's 36. It's been 2 decades that he has had pressure. The pressure to fail, being called the chosen one. And no one could ever say that he's underachieved. He actually overachieved with the most pressure ever in the history of sports. And then when you talk about what LeBron James does off the court, always giving back to the community. The great Isaiah Thomas, who played for the Detroit Pistons, said it himself. Not only is he the GOAT, but he's probably the greatest to impact off the court. I'm not taking anything from Bill Russell, Kareem, all those guys that laid the foundation and did what they have to do during their era. But it's a different era. If you look at LeBron on what he did with more than a vote, he knew how important it was for African Americans to go out there and vote. He knew, he dug deep. He got a team together, a great team to form so we could educate all the African American communities that we grew up in about voter depression, etc., distractions, the way that they lied to us. So what he pulled off just in that was powerful enough. But the word pressure and LeBron James overachieving with the highest expectations, he's the most accomplished ever, Foxy.
Okay, I mean, I appreciate that you put us in virtual school and no longer yelling on first take. So I'm happy to participate in virtual school. You think you taught me something? Now I'm going to teach you something. So you said pressure is what's going to define how great LeBron James is. You talk about pressure. Bill Russell, someone broke in that man's house and pooped on his bed, and then he went and won a championship. Talk about pressure. Somebody under some sort of pressure, and the getting people to vote. Like, that's a great accomplishment. I'm not trying to take anything from LeBron James, but what Bill Russell was participating in was advancing the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act. He's participated in those things all together. So if we're going off the court, I think it's no competition. And again, if we're talking greatest, we could maybe be subjective about those sorts of things and talk about how the eras are changed and how the competition is different and its impact on the game. But to me, greatest is subjective. Accomplished is not subjective. Accomplished is about accomplishments. And they put the graphic up once before. Maybe they'll put it up again. There is nobody who compares to Bill Russell as far as accomplishments are concerned. And we saw, and when they were showing the video of LeBron James, we saw that man holding the Finals MVP trophy up. You know whose name is on that trophy? It's Bill Russell, because you know who showed up in those pressure moments? Look at those accomplishments. Nobody's even close. Kareem is the closest to having similar level of accomplishment, the most accomplished. Bill Russell, by far, bar none. Nobody has accomplished more in the game of basketball, and maybe the times were different. I agree with you. Maybe it was a little easier to win a title back then. That is true.
Yeah, it was really different. They only had about 8 teams then. But when you look at what LeBron James, if you put his individual accolades on the side of Bill Russell, it's going to blow him out the water. First of all, LeBron James is probably, by the time it's done, he's going to finish number 1 in all-time points. He's going to finish probably top 5 in assists. He's going to finish with 10,000 plus rebounds. He's already setting records every day he step on the court. So when I'm talking about Bill Russell, I'm not knocking what Bill Russell did. Winning championships is hard. He won 11 of them. But let's not forget, he also had a star-studded team throughout the 11. He also played with great players like that. I'm talking about that top 50 great players. So at the end of the day, I get what you're saying. His name is on the trophy, but let's not think that 20 years down the line, LeBron James' name won't be on one of these trophies or a trophy that's given out that's called the LeBron James Award. Right now, he's just active. He's a walking memorial. That's all it is. He's just active and playing.
You're absolutely right. In 20 years from now, I'll be willing to have this conversation again and reconsider if LeBron James is more accomplished. And you won't get any debate from me on whether the talent is higher or that it's more challenging to win a title today than it was back then. Like, I believe that to be the case. And that's why LeBron James, in my view, is the greatest player of all time. But you can't separate those two things. But it's not the most
That's what I'm trying to tell you,
Like, Bill
Foxy.
Russell has
Foxy, what
more
I'm saying,
accomplishments.
what I'm saying is, you keep bringing up the 11 championships, right? That was your main focal point from the start. All I'm saying was that you put LeBron James back in that era and watch how many championships he would have won when people was around here dribbling with one hand, doing this stuff here, couldn't even do a Euro step. Don't come telling me about back then. I don't want to hear that. What I'm telling you right now is that this man at the age of 16 was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, labeled the chosen one. He was set up to fail coming into the NBA as an 18-year-old. Here we are at the age of 36, 2 decades later, and he's still going, and we still having conversations about this man and what he's doing on the basketball court. No man has done this most and still going at this period of time for his longevity, like LeBron James. He probably won't finish for another 5 years.
You're right. LeBron was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Bill Russell was on the cover of an FBI file. It's a little different type of pressure. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
it's a little bit different type of pressure.
Okay.
Just a little.
Dominique, why do I have a feeling that Kendrick will still be yelling at you in 2021? I don't think there's an end to this. Kendrick, you can claim that, but I think you're going to be schooling him all the way into the new year. All right, Kendrick, we have to say goodbye to you for right now, but you'll be back later on in the show, so we'll see you in just a bit. All right, we have some football to discuss, gentlemen. We are entering week 17 of the season.